Hey, what's going on? JD here, and this is the Daily JD. Thanks for tuning in, guys. As always, remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell button so you get notifications when we, in fact, do go live. And of course, we always tweet it out on our Twitter at Paint Inc. when we do go live for these live streams. But it's easy to remember. We go live every Tuesday and Thursday, 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, as is tradition. So thanks again for tuning in, guys. Again, check out my Instagram at Paint Inc., as well as me over on Twitch at Paint Inc. Those are all my socials, so you can always find me there. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Hope you had a lot of cool stuff going on. I see that everybody has been really busy, which is really good. You know, it's always nice to be busy, not too busy, but busy enough. Again, I just sort of got my point to where I got my head above water. Nice thing I was able to go explore the city a little bit like I like to do. That will be the subject of this week's vlog. So when that drops, and it should drop tomorrow, hopefully you guys will check it out. That's one thing that I love to do is, sort of check out the city and, have a good time. So if you are here, by all means, drop some comments in the chat. Let me know what you guys wish to discuss. As is normal, I do have some stuff to discuss today in the meantime. But before we get to that, of course, we're going to thank our Patreon supporters. And that is none other than Rob Jameson. You can check out his channel there, as well as you can check out Reviewy McReviewface, strandtrevor.com. See what he's got going on there, as well as we're brought to you this month by Rumble app. You can download the Rumble app via that link, which is basically a new startup social media site, which we discuss startups all the time on this show. So if you want to, check that out. And of course, thanks to our YouTube sponsors, that is none other than Josh WRB and Mums Universe. So thank you guys for supporting the podcast month after month. It is greatly appreciated. Good to see you, Rob. Thanks for tuning in. Hello back. Good to see you, Pete. Thanks for tuning in. And Craftsmith, hey, I hope all's going well with you. It's going good over here. Rob Jameson, the last sponsor shout out for Rumble. We'll see. They just sent me a note like 2 minutes before I went on air, so we'll see what that's all about. So maybe not. Who knows? But they are definitely here, and we shall see. Any tips? Mitch asks, any tips for GoPro night riding with a lamp? That's tough. It's because what you're doing is active. Dynamically, in the sense that the lighting conditions really kind of always change, not from the light, not from the GoPro itself, but from your surroundings. So it's the best thing to do is probably just go with it. Just realize that the footage that you're probably going to get out of it, there is going to be noise. That being said, if you are not set up in ProTune, which is basically their flat profile, their equivalent of, sort of a cinematic thing in a camera like, Canon, they will have, sort of flat LUTs to apply, so you get the largest dynamic range and then color correct in post. That's probably what you want to do. So you want to shoot in ProTune. And you can do those in the menus there. If you have a relatively good idea of where you want to be, you can set your exposure on the GoPro. I don't necessarily recommend it, because it does a decent job of knowing where it should be. And I mean, it is a GoPro. The sensor is really small to begin with. Just expect a fair bit of noise coming out of it. Because again, it will try to make it look as light as possible. Again, best to probably experiment a little bit. With the light, I mean, the more light, the better. So the more light that you can throw at the trail, the better as well. So if you have a high, sort of luminous lamp that you can put on there. And I know they come with a variety of different bike lights that you can have. And I know some people stock them up. Definitely do that. Handlebar mount, I would say, is probably the way that you want to go. Short of that is you could pick up something like and just one sec, it just happens to be there. One of these guys, especially if you have like a session GoPro. This is a Lytra lamp. It's very small. It's got a built-in diffuser. So the light, and we'll do this, is if it turns on, you can see is quite bright there without the diffuser. So if I throw the diffuser on there, you can see it softens up that light a fair bit. So that's, softened, and that's like the harsh light. So it does make a difference. These are quite small. They utilize the same things as GoPro mounts. Like it is the identical size to a GoPro session. So it is possible that you could theoretically mount one on one side and have the other on the other, just so they're not that light's not blasting directly into the lens, to give it a little bit of dissipation before it actually gets picked up. And it's got 3 different intensities, so you can do that. So that way, when you're moving your head and looking, it's still lighting up things a little bit. But the more light that you can throw at a situation, the better. I assume that you're going to be riding with people at night. The other thing is have them ride with lights, because any light that they're throwing on a trail is going to help illuminate the scene. Even if somebody is riding behind you or relatively close behind you, their light will help boost your scene a bit, especially off in the fringes. If they're ahead, it will help as well. There'll be a little bit of a dead spot, but it all doesn't matter because people know that you're riding at night. So, I mean, you can't expect, phenomenal footage during a night ride, but, those are a couple things that would probably help, short of, getting somebody who's got a helicopter and like blast in a spotlight. But again, you're just simply, overexposing the scene at that point. You kind of want the atmosphere of a night ride. So I would definitely go with, the light on the bike, see if you can get it close. Do a test run's always good. Don't always expect, play with some settings, drive, like ride halfway down the hill, in auto, flip it to something else, get it close. You're probably looking at it on your phone, so you'll be able to see how well it's exposed. Try those settings and see what works. Because when you get back into the computer, you'll be able to see, sort of where that footage is. Is it falling apart? Is it, is the ISO so high on it that, it just starts breaking up? And there's also an ISO limiter on GoPros as well. So you can limit the top ISO that those cameras go to. And that's always a good idea as well. If you know that the image starts breaking up at, let's say, 3200, really bad, any steps after that. So at 64, it gets really, really bad. You're fine with 32, but you're not good with 64. Then set it so it doesn't go any higher than that. So hopefully, that helps you out a little bit there. So let me go back to the questions. Are you still king of Rumble? Laugh out loud. I don't even know. I posted one video today. It's kind of been my thing. Let's see. Oh, something failed. Okay, maybe I didn't upload one video today. Just barely. It's barely 95.8, and I'm at like 96.1. So I don't know if you can see that. There we go, 96.1. So momentarily, and it's whatever, it's as long as people are enjoying my content and having a good time, I think that is kind of a good thing. Yes, you are 3,900 from 100K. That'll be nice. It'll be a nice landmark to hit that. I'll be excited when I hit that. It's a nice milestone to hit. Hey, Andy, how you doing? JD, a couple weeks ago, you mentioned that when you shoot bands, you stay for a couple songs. Do the bands see you and pose or get in position to get the shots? If there's kind of 2 things that I do with musicians. A lot of times, if bands are looking for, posing for shots, a lot of times that's done elsewhere, typically, in a studio with sets and set lighting. Depends what the ultimate outcome for the image is. But if they're using it for promotional stuff, typically it'll be a studio shoot or it'll be a location shoot, and the specific thing is going to be capturing that image. And typically they're not playing, we've all seen sort of the EPK images or news images of bands where they're just kind of chilling out and doing their thing or whatever their look is. So typically, no, they're not posing for shots at all during concerts. During concerts, to say for a couple songs, they're not posing at all. They are playing. They are conscious that you are there and you're there for those songs. I just finished doing some work with The Offspring. Usually, they'll dictate what it is. So, for example, with The Offspring, I was out there not for the first couple songs. I was out there for like 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then I moved to the back, and then from the back I went to the front of house and shot back out into the crowd. But I mean, they're fully aware of where I am and what I'm doing and where I'm working, and they're used to that stuff. So. The instructions vary from band to band, how they want to be shot. Sometimes they'll have, shooting instructions, like they won't want anything close up. Sometimes they just want, sort of massive crowds. A lot of times they'll want fan stuff. It really, really depends on the situation. So, they don't really pose. They just, they go about doing their thing. They'll play it up sometimes, for example, with Buck Cherry, their guitarist, he likes to play with the camera, and, he definitely, he'll focus in, and there are guys that are really good at that. They're good at, in that moment, focusing in, knowing that, they're going to, stick their hand in the air, or they're going to point, and they'll look directly at the camera. They just got a really good stage presence, and they know, at the end, I mean, they want good shots too. They want stuff to go out there, and they want their fans to look and say, oh, that was awesome. So, I mean, definitely are there people that play for the camera? Absolutely. So hopefully that answers your question a little bit, until Robbie takes your spot. If Robbie takes my spot, he takes my spot, Rob. I'm not going to be terribly worried about it. Hey, Woodrow, good to see you. Good to see you, Mum's Universe. Good afternoon, evening to you as well. Rob says, I've shot a show where the lead singer has come over 1 or 2 times. Yeah, and like I said, there are definitely guys that will play to the camera and stuff like that. It's funny sometimes, though. I've definitely had it where, people have come in really, really close, and it doesn't help because they think they have to get super close to the camera, and they don't. So they kind of like crowd your shot, and you don't get anything out of it. It's kind of funny when it's happened. Like I'm trying to back up a little bit, and they keep on coming closer. But it's an interesting thing, but like I said, I mean, a lot of the bands that I work with are seasoned professionals. They know what they want and their outcome. They know what they're going to do with the images. So, I mean, they go about their thing. But, as far as EPK, like fully pose shots, like family portraits, equivalent in rock, definitely those are, different days set up, and, all those kind of things. Although I will say that, a lot of bands do request at the end of the show, especially if they have a big house, sometimes they'll say, if we're sold out, we want this. So a lot of times, and the Palace Theater downtown Calgary is a good example of this, because they have this big kind of, circular around the stage, and they've got 2 levels. So it looks really, really massive when it's full. They will turn on the house lights. They will get the lighting guy to turn on the house lights because it wouldn't work otherwise. And then they'll turn around, face the camera, and do the drumsticks in the air after their final song and get the photograph, and then it's off to the races. And a lot of times guys want that for their socials, because, they want to acknowledge the town that they were just in, and, get some shots that get their fans talking about it. So the next time that they roll through town, everybody's like, hey, remember that time that band X came through? I heard it was a big party. I saw the photographs. It was amazing. We need to go. And they want to generate that kind of hype. So there you go. Not as big as the Offspring. There you go. Andy says, thanks. Not a problem, man. That's what we're here for. Answer your questions. Craftsman says, "What's up, mums?" So again, if you have any questions, and I appreciate those that have been dropped in so far. Thank you, Mitch, and thank you, Andy, for asking those questions. Hopefully helpful, but yeah, just throw it on in there. In the meantime, I'm going to talk about this YouTube union, which is an interesting development. So I believe this happened as of today. And there's a group of YouTubers in Europe, and forgive me, I've got to read some of this because I don't commit all this stuff to memory. So the union was formed last year, basically revolving around some of the tensions that came about from demonetization and setting up new rules and all these kind of things that happened with YouTube that were upsetting creators. So they formed a union, and what has happened is that the basically metalwork union in Germany has gotten involved, and they're going to back these guys, and they're pushing forward, and they have served YouTube a notice saying they have 24 days to respond to their request for unionizing these YouTubers. So it's very interesting because it will change potentially the game and how YouTube's played. It's an interesting dynamic because YouTube we don't really work for YouTube. Nobody who's getting paid by YouTube here really works for YouTube directly. It's all sort of subcontract work. You are a creator partner. So whatever you generate, there are percentages that go, but there is no, set minimum wage. There is no anything like that. And I don't think that they're going that route. That's what they're not alluding to. They want a minimum wage for YouTubers because that would probably break the platform, and YouTube would probably just say, you know what, forget it. Nobody's monetized. You're all done. You're out. And I could see YouTube easily doing that, and people would still create content. Now, that being said, what they're asking for is greater transparency in the decisions that YouTube makes and having more input, which everybody has kind of really asked for. In this stream, in the last year, it used to be a big topic. People were generally unhappy with a lot of things that were going on with YouTube. There was a lot of, grumbles about, how the platform was run, what they were doing, how they were changing things, and people didn't like it because there were people that got caught in the middle, myself included. At a certain point, I was demonetized for a little bit. It was only a few months, but still, it sucked at that time. And I know there's some people that are still demonetized because of it, and that sucks for them as well because, everybody, doesn't matter your size. A lot of people are putting in a lot of hard work and a lot of hours, and, to be honest, I still don't kind of understand why there is a subscriber count minimum. They should just have you, be on the platform for a certain period of time, have so many, videos uploaded so they can assess what kind of creator you are, and then either give you the thumbs up or the thumbs down. And a big part of it is they just didn't want people coming in and, uploading a bunch of trashy videos and, spamming the system, which YouTube has had its problems for. But the union is an interesting concept because they are attached to the metal workers union, who has a ton of money, and they are throwing a ton of money towards this. Again, there's like a 24-day ultimatum coming up, for YouTube to respond. It's interesting that they're doing that, but of course, unions are kind of a business as well too. The union is set to make money here. Anytime you're talking about union, that means paying union dues. So if you compare it to something like an MCN, which was kind of a creator union in a sense, they would represent you, they would give you music, they would do a bunch of stuff for you, they would negotiate on your behalf for YouTube, kind of like a union does, but they would take a percentage of your earnings. There is a good chance that a metal union, this union here, will do that. Will a creator have to pay a fee per month? Generally speaking, a union, they take a percentage of your paycheck and, or set fees. So which one it'll be? I mean, either way you look at it, the union is looking at it with dollar signs in their eyes. Do they have the best interest of creators in mind? They will claim to. I'm not 100% sure. So it's going to be something to, watch in the weeks to come what comes out of this. I don't think initially it's going to spread much further than Germany and the European Union. They have a whole bunch of problems out there with a whole bunch of stuff on YouTube. And being a creator in North America, you do have some advantages from being a creator over in Europe at this point. So we shall see how it goes. Where are we at? Rob asks, do I boot out and enjoy my long weekend, or do I camp out at Crossfield for a Paul Rudd potential Bill Murray autograph? They've been in town. Paul Rudd was spotted in town, as well as the guy that plays, I forget the kid's name on Stranger Things. He was in town as well. In fact, I know some people that got photos with him just the past week out. I think they will be keeping relatively low profile. From what I kind of have put together, I think they're shooting in a set here as well. So they might not even be out in Crossfield. It really just kind of depends. I would just honestly go enjoy my weekend, rather than camp out and, hunt for those guys, unless, you are like the super fan. They will have it all blocked off, and, there won't be great access anyways. And I'm pretty sure it's easy to shut down a small town like Crossfield. Chances are, what happened to me in New York will not happen to you in the streets of Crossfield. And for those of you who don't know the story, when I went to New York, I was, kind of doing my thing. There was a bunch of movies. The hotel that I was staying in, they filmed Blue Bloods. So they were filming the whole time that I was there, because I stayed in a super swanky hotel, which was awesome. How that happened, I have no idea, and I'm sure they probably thought the same. But there was also Person of Interest that was filming down the street, and they have signs up telling you kind of what the shows are. And I went, and I was standing, and I walk up beside this guy because he was leaning against the wall watching what was going on, because they had all their camera gear and stuff set up, and I was like, so I said to him, I said, "Hey, what are they filming?" And the guy looks at me and he's like, "What do you mean, what are we filming?" I'm like, "What do you mean, what do we mean, what are we filming?" And he's like, "You're on set, right?" I'm like, "What?" And it's like, next thing you know, there's an action call, and he's like, "Just walk." So I just walked down the street, and they filmed their section, and I just kept on going. Somehow I managed to walk directly on a set without even being noticed, which is absolutely crazy. But yeah, very, very... very, very interesting. I don't think that'll happen. I think that's just because New York was busy, and, who knows? I don't know how I got where I got, looking as I was going out and all the security that was involved. Happened to go to the Chaos Festival in Edmonton. Slayer was playing. No, I didn't go for that. I photographed Slayer so many times. I photographed their last tour so many times. It's interesting. I always love it. Kerry King is great to photograph. All the guys. It's a great band, visually really, really cool. They're always fun to photograph. I have tons and tons of Slayer photographs. I've got them probably, I've probably got 10 plus years of Slayer on my hard drives as well. Gwar too. Gwar is always fun. Gwar is fun, but Gwar, you have to know what they do. It's always amusing to me when fresh photographers show up to shoot Gwar, and they are wearing, some really, nice clothes, and their camera gear is, out completely. And I've got mine in aquatic, kind of stuff you would normally film underwater with. And they're like, "Well, why do you have that?" And when they start, spraying blood and all sorts of stuff all over the crowd, they know exactly why. And that stuff is actually, I think it's corn syrup or something, is actually really, really sticky. So if you get that in your gear, you have a bitch of a time getting it clean. And if you get it on your lens, it's easy to wipe cloth the aquatic gear, but it's not easy to wet cloth your lens itself. But Gwar, always fun to photograph as well. I've watched that band for years and years. I went, and saw them play years and years ago, at all sorts of venues here. So, I mean, it's they're always a good time, and they come here every year. So, gotta love Gwar. They keep on rocking. What do we got? Craftsmith says, Mom's Universe, I'm got bitten by the creative bug again. Been editing some videos like crazy. That's awesome. I can't wait to see those. Rob says, I don't understand people who want to play in some playground and wants to control over how the playground runs. YouTuber is a provider. That's it. They don't owe us anything. And I always say that to people. You have to understand that, all these companies, no matter what the social media platform is, it's their playground and their rules. Now, if you don't like the rules, you don't have to play there. It's as simple as that. Now, I do understand that, there are people out there that make their living 100% from YouTube, and having that unpredictability and lack of transparency can be extremely frustrating. But again, it comes back to what I talk about so many times on this stream. And what I tell every creator is that don't put all your eggs in one basket. Make sure that you are doing everything from, cross-pollinating in different social media platforms, so you have a base following elsewhere. Make sure that you are getting email lists. Make sure that you are making real connections with people. So if something goes completely goodbye, then at least you know where to find them. Like I said, I was on VidMe for a long time, so was Mom's Universe, but here we are post VidMe, and we still, communicate, watch each other stream. Why? Because, there's that cross-pollination and the fact that we knew where each other could be found after the fact, and that is extremely, extremely helpful. YouTube could fold up tomorrow, say, we're not paying anybody anything, and they would be well within their rights of doing that. They're not going to do that because, it's working for them right now. But if somebody starts to try to dictate stuff, you might see some weird things happen. I definitely can't necessarily see a union go. I mean, you're much better off, you're much better off starting your own thing and doing your own thing. And I mean, if you look at Philip DeFranco, he's a good example of it. He puts all his stuff on his own website. He has the Franco Elite. He knows, if he can get people to where he controls the playground, the rules, what content's there, everything 100%, he is way better off. So always, something good. But they found a way to pay those who provide content as freelancers. There you go. Rob says, Paul was up here today, Crossfield at the high school. That's cool. I'm getting excited for the upcoming Ghostbusters movie. Had no idea it was being filmed in Canada. Very cool. Yeah, it's being filmed in basically in mine and Rob's backyard. It's really close. Hopefully at some point I will be able to, or Nick will be on here. I think Nick has been absent, Samurai Fingers, because he hasn't said it because he's not allowed to say anything. But I'm pretty 100% sure there's a couple productions working here, Ghostbusters being one of them, but I'm pretty sure he is working on Ghostbusters as an extra, which is really cool. And hopefully he gets some lines. And again, that is all thanks to the wonderful headshot photography of myself. It was his... he came over, we filmed the podcast, the Dudecast, we were doing some episodes. I did his headshots. He went out, and lo and behold, first time out with brand new headshots, and look what he gets. I'm taking 100. I said this before in another stream. I am taking 100% credit for this. Absolutely 100%. Mom's Universe says, laugh out. That's a great story, JD. Pretty damn cool experience. Have you watched the film to see if you show up in it? It's a television series. I didn't see myself. I would have been very, very nondescript anyways. I wear the same thing. I wear black. There's a bunch of people in suits and all. And it's, filmed in New York because it represents New York. So it was a busy set too. There was a lot of extras there. I just, like I said, I just managed to wander in, which was really, really weird. Hey, good to see you, Josh. Hey, I was going to say, if you are, I think I sent you a message back on YouTube, but if you are down for a movie tonight, if you're going to a later one, I am definitely down. It just has to be after I've finished training. I just need to know before I go there, so I know to not hang about and get beaten up for extra hours kind of thing. Hope you're doing well too, man. Calgary, Crossfield, and Bicycer. Craftsman says, went out to Vulcan for their Star Trek convention this past weekend and was able to successfully test some new camera equipment. Very cool. What do you got going on? I'm curious. I always love new gear. Josh is super stoked on the Ghostbusters. Mom's Universe, what's up? Josh says, hey back. Craftsmith, one of the part-timers at my day job, got hired for a big movie project, but he can't say what the movie is, so pretty sure it's Ghostbusters. So that's really cool. I mean, that is the bonus for, sort of being out here. If you are, looking to, break into film, I guess, and do some extra work, there is definitely work to be had from time to time. They filmed everything from Legends to the Fall here to, Rise of the Empire Sun. There are a ton of films. Fargo just left here, the production, the TV series. So there's always, kind of something going on. There are always kind of productions that are active. And if you keep your eyes open, there is always the opportunity for extra work. Like I said, Nick, that's, kind of where he's focusing his attention now. And I know that there are some YouTubers, not me at all, but there are a lot of YouTubers that want to use YouTube to kind of break into film and acting, but to be honest, extra work, is a good thing. My niece works in the movie industry in Vancouver, there's a lot of stuff that's happened. So, if you want work, in the movie industry, it is there for the taking if you want to do that stuff. There is a lot of long hours, but, the play can be, the pay can be good, and you can make yourself a lot of cash. One of my good friends, Derek Roberts, who used to be in the band The Indifferent, he was an extra in Stallone's movie Get Carter. He was the cab driver, and I tell you, he made a good chunk of money doing that. But it's always cool to see your friends, when they're doing well, seeing them do what they love and do what they love to do, and that is acting. So it's always very, very cool. To be part of Ghostbusters movie would be amazing. It would be. I think, especially if you are like a super fan of it, it would be amazing. It's, for me, I would have to sit around too much. I can't do that. And let's be honest, I am a shitty actor. I am terrible at everything acting wise. Acting will never be my forte. But it would definitely be cool. Okay, I will check with the wifey. Sounds good. Hey, Craftsmith, hope all is going well. Craftsmith says, I got a little handheld stabilizer, pocket-sized tripod, and a clip-on microphone. I show them off in the vlog I filmed. Just need to edit it now. Cool. Okay, late movies ago. Awesome. So I'll meet you at Chinook, buddy. I will shoot you a text as soon as I am done getting punched in the face. Which should be around 8:15. So yeah, just, as a side, I'm back to getting punched in the face on a regular basis. Elbow is I went to see the doctor today. We talked about removing it, dealing with some other stuff, with my hip, but, I feel all right. It's just, it sucks being almost 50 now. And, I wish I was still 20 something and still in tip top shape and fighting away because, it's, again, it's a passion. I enjoy, the challenge of that. And, to be honest, at this point, it's just something that can help keep me, active and going and, keep my skills a little bit sharp. So at least if somebody tries to mug me, I'm not hopefully a soft target is how I look at it. There you go. What are you going to see? I have no idea. I have no idea what movie we're going to see. Josh mentioned it yesterday. It's kind of how we operate. It's just kind of randomly throw it out there. But yeah, who knows? I don't even know what's in there. I've been so busy with everything that I have just completely lost track of my entire life through, just kind of doing everything. It's just complete. You get completely swept away. Anybody will tell you, as an independent contractor, as a guy that does work, it's like when you work, and you work because that can stop at any time, and you just work. And then sometimes you end up working for 6 weeks, because I think that's what I'm at now, and realize that you haven't taken a day off in 6 weeks. And, it's just crazy. That's not true. I took Sunday off, but, it just kind of builds up. It's just insane how much stuff goes on, and it's just a super crazy time. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Oh yes, oh yes, yes. That'll be so good. I'm excited to see that. It's number one, it's a Quentin Tarantino film. Number two, to have Johnny Depp and Leonardo DiCaprio in the same film, that's pretty amazing. And number three, to sort of revisit Crazy Charlie's adventure in Hollywood. There is another thing. So it should be pretty amazing. It should be. I have high expectations. I hope I'm not disappointed. I hear rumblings that it's Quentin Tarantino's last film, so I think Quentin is the kind of guy that he will go out with a bang. So I'm excited to see that. So there you go. I hear that loud right now about the contract work, man. Yeah, it's always a challenge. It's always a challenge, definitely. So if you guys have any questions, I've sort of rambled on for who knows how long now, 30 odd minutes, and taken very little break. If you have any questions, by all means, throw them in the chat. Let me know anything that you wish to discuss. And again, I appreciate all the questions from Rob, Mitch, as well as Andy. Hey, Bear, how's it going? What are you telling me? Yeah? There we go. I think Bear wants to be in. Come here. Come here. No. I think Bear is telling me that it's... I'm not sure what Bear is telling me. And this is how podcasts get interrupted at the best of times. There's Bear the Destroyer. I know. You're a good pup. She's just sitting there looking at me, talking to me. And there, we got all those Bear the Destroyers in the chat, which is awesome. She's got such a big personality, and I love her for it. So other than that, I don't have much for you. I'm going to click the play ad button in the meantime, unless you guys have any questions. Bear apparently does have some questions, or at least some statements. So she's talking away and sitting right there. Let me know exactly how she feels about all of it. So Bear, do you feel that a YouTube union is a good idea? Dead silence. I'd take that as a no. That's a no. That's a hard no from Bear. Bear says no YouTube union. So listen to Bear. Be smart. Don't. There you go. Oh, there we go. Josh got an ad. Mom's got an ad. I made sure not to skip it. Appreciate that. So yeah. So Bear saying no YouTube union. And yeah, that's kind of all I have for you guys. So I appreciate it as always. I haven't renewed my Epidemic Sound thing. Every month I have this debate about switching music sites, and I'm having that again. I just used music from Epidemic Sound for the vlog that's supposed to come out tomorrow, so I suppose I have to renew them for a month. But because I haven't done that, I can't play any of the end screens because they both have Epidemic Sound music attached to them, which is kind of a pain in the ass. Josh says, what's YouTube Union? Just quick rehash is a group of YouTubers last year in Germany sort of got together, started the YouTube Union. They just got joined up with the Metalworks Union in Germany, who have served YouTube with a notice to respond to their requests as these YouTubers are looking to unionize, making YouTube more transparent to the creator, as well as setting up some guidelines and ways that they can provide direct input into the ecosystem. And that's kind of where that is at. And YouTube has 24 days at this point to respond. So it's going to be interesting if it goes through. So that's kind of the craziness of that. That was just kind of like a 1 minute hash up of the entire stream here. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I appreciate it. As always, remember, before we take off here, smash that like button. Appreciate it. Love you guys. And I will catch you all on Thursday. And until next time, see ya.